In a recent episode of Joe Rogan's podcast, the conversation bounced from one topic to the next so quickly that it felt less like an interview and more like a game of mental pinball, fast-paced, unpredictable, and surprisingly entertaining.
When you say suing media, are you talking about the CBS lawsuit?
Among other things.
Right, but don't you think there's a real issue with what they did?
During the conversation, Bernie brought up Trump's lawsuit against certain media companies, but it seemed he was working with an incomplete picture of what had actually happened.
But it's not just
We could go to ABC, but I'm not aware of that one either.
Well, George Stephanopoulos said something that he didn't like. But the point is,
what did Stephanopoulos say?
I can't remember. It was I honestly don't remember.
So today, we're diving straight into these lawsuits to separate fact from fiction. Think of it as a crash course, because here, we deal in facts, context, and a healthy dose of common sense. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, and let's jump right in.
And I got to say, I mean, one of the things, and there's a lot of arguments about Trump, that worries me very, very much is this movement toward authoritarianism and going after media, suing media, taking away the authority that Congress has.
When you say suing media, are you talking about the CBS lawsuit?
Among other things.
Right, but don't you think there's a real issue with what they did?
No. In this sense,
you don't think that there's a real issue in editing conversations to give someone an answer
Joe,
that's different than what they really answered?
Joe, I've been on 8 zillion shows, right? In my life.
Okay.
Now, should I sue you if you ask me some stupid question that I don't like, right? Or that you do something? Should I sue you?
Yeah, but that's not what he's getting.
That's exactly the point. Bernie presents it as Trump simply being a sore loser, upset over questions he didn't like. But that's an oversimplified version of what actually happened. After all, Trump faced years of tough and often hostile questioning from reporters like Jim Acosta without filing lawsuits over it. Why? Because difficult or even unfair questions don't automatically cross a legal line. The cases involving outlets like CBS or the Des Moines Register are a different matter entirely. These lawsuits aren't just about negative coverage or unfavorable headlines. They center on allegations involving actions that may have influenced public opinion during an election. Whether you agree with the lawsuits or not, there's a real debate to be had there. The problem with Bernie's argument is that it skips over that nuance and jumps straight to a simplified narrative. So let's take a closer look at the facts and see whether his reasoning holds up under scrutiny.
He has sued ABC. He has sued Meta. He is suing the Des Moines Register. He is suing CBS for this Kamala Harris interview. That's what a free press is about. You don't like it, you got to live with it. You do something, I'm not going to sue you, Joe.
Right, but it's not that simple, right? Like, let's not talk about Trump, but let's talk about another candidate, someone on the right and someone on the left. And there's a concerted effort to promote this person that's on the right. And so the polls are rigged, or these are funded polls that make it look like this person on the right is winning by a substantial margin. And what this does is decreases the motivation that people have to come out and vote against them.
That's happening.
So it's fake.
For some context, just days before Election Day, the Des Moines Register released a poll showing Kamala Harris leading Trump by 3 points in Iowa. Rachel Maddow praised the outlet as the gold standard of polling. And before long, CNN, MSNBC, and much of the media were repeating the results nonstop. Then came election night. Trump didn't just win Iowa, he won by roughly 14 points. It wasn't even close and landed well outside the poll's margin of error. Now, polling has never been an exact science, and the industry as a whole could probably use some serious improvements. But a miss of that magnitude is hard to ignore. Does Trump's decision to sue make him seem overly sensitive? Some people would say yes. But from another perspective, a mistake like this is a bit like damaging headlines surfacing right before you're trying to finalize a billion-dollar business deal. Even if the underlying fundamentals are strong, public perception can still have real consequences.
The other lawsuit with the conversation that they had with Kamala Harris, where they edited the answers that she had to make it look more precise.
60 Minutes, they were suing 60 Minutes.
Yes.
Is, to my mind, historically, they've been around for a very long time. You know, they're not infallible, but I think you look at most objective people will say 60 Minutes has a sterling reputation for investigative journalism.
He's not wrong about the show's legacy. For decades, it has been a major part of the American media landscape. But the way Bernie presents it, that long history seems to place it beyond criticism. as if its reputation alone shields it from being held accountable when mistakes happen. That's where Joe Rogan stepped in. In a calm but direct way, he challenged Bernie's argument by pointing to the facts surrounding the case.
That's not investigative journalism if you change someone's answers. If you ask her a question and she comes with a rambling answer that doesn't make sense, and you edit that out and insert another answer to a different question that seems more cogent.
All right, Joe, then you're walking down, you're walking down a dangerous path. Suing media has the impact of intimidating media. All right, if somebody sues you, all right, let me finish, all right?
Okay.
Somebody sues you, why not you? You could be sued tomorrow, right?
At this point, it's hard not to laugh. Anyone who watched the full, unedited Kamala Harris interview would struggle to land where Bernie is landing. 60 Minutes does have a strong journalism legacy, but that doesn't automatically give them a free pass. They knew the case against them was shaky, and the $60 million settlement says a lot on its own. If anything, it probably forced a bit more caution going forward. And while platforms like X and Facebook have faced their own accusations around censorship, Bernie never really called them out in the same way. As the discussion went on, Sanders started to feel the pressure, eventually throwing out a hypothetical so extreme that it almost felt out of place.
All right, if somebody sues you, all right, let me finish, all right?
Okay.
Somebody sues you, why not you? You could be sued tomorrow, right? Because you are doing this, you're too sympathetic to this.
Right.
And Joe, you did that, and they have a big law firm behind you. You're going to have to spend zillions of dollars defending yourself. You know what? Next time you do an interview, you say, maybe I'm not going to go in that area. Right?
No, but it's not that. It's editing things to make deceptive editing.
Joe,
so in deceptive editing, you give people a different perception of who this candidate is than reality.
Right, but you got to explain.
But that's not objective journalism.
I know, but
that's campaigning for that person.
Right, but
would you agree with that?
I don't have those details. I don't know that I agree with.
He went after ABC after George Stephanopoulos confidently said Trump had been found civilly liable for groping someone, something that wasn't accurate. That's more than a simple mistake, especially coming from a major journalist on a national network. It's not surprising they ultimately agreed to a $15 million settlement. Media figures can criticize Trump or any politician freely, but statements that cross into false claims about court rulings can carry serious consequences. Policy criticism is fair game. Misstating what a court actually decided is not. From that angle, Trump's lawsuit looks less like damage control and more like drawing a boundary. Now that we've laid out the facts, let's see how Bernie tried to spin the story.
I think that's universally accepted that that's what they did.
Then you got to tell me why he is suing ABC. Why are you suing Meta?
Let's just talk about the 60 Minutes one first.
No, but it's not just
we could go to ABC, but I'm not aware of that one either.
Well, George Stephanopoulos said something that he didn't like. But the point is,
what did Stephanopoulos say?
I can't remember. It was I honestly don't remember. But
I think what he was saying was factually incorrect about the results of one of Trump's trials.
All right. Guess what? If I were to sue everybody who said things that were factually incorrect about me, I'd be suing people zillions of times.
Yeah, he definitely remembers that part, but it conveniently gets left out because it kind of blows up the whole argument. I'd really like to hear what you think, so drop your thoughts in the comments and get the conversation going. And if you've got friends who still rely on mainstream coverage, feel free to share this with them too. That's how independent voices start to cut through the noise of partisan media. And above all else, just keep thinking for yourself.